I'm going to invite you into an adventure that I discovered when I was teaching a school of the Spirit. We met on Tuesday nights, and because of my travel schedule, I was traveling in ministry in those days, and because of my travel schedule, it was necessary for me to be gone for about a month. So I prayed for direction, said, Lord, what do we do in this month? And he gave me an assignment to pass on to the class, and the assignment was to do two things. Number one, soak in God's presence 2 or 3 times a week. Number two, in the next month, find 20 people and edify, exhort, or comfort them. Now let me take a moment to say a bit more about what soaking is. Soaking is a kind of prayer. It's a kind of prayer where we listen rather than talking. It's a kind of prayer where we wait in God's presence. Many people do it nowadays by putting on worship music in the background, and they lie perfectly still in God's presence. Some sit in a chair. Some like to lie down before the Lord. I've gotten to where I like to lie in my bed with worship music playing, and then I let my heart get quiet. I focus my attention on Jesus, and very frequently words begin to form and a flow of words happens. I often take a notepad. I bought a stack of steno books that I use for my soaking times, and I jot things down as God speaks to me. And I've learned to linger in his presence, but many times it's not just a matter of hearing instruction, but it's a matter of some of God's nonverbals. I find myself moved with compassion, or I find myself richly moved with the fear of the Lord. A convicting presence of God comes upon me. And in the language of the fear of the Lord, I find my heart prepared then to get into a flow of those spontaneous words that come from God. So soaking is a time of getting still before him, focusing on Jesus and seeing what God will do next. But the other thing, I gave the class the assignment to edify, exhort, or comfort 20 people in the next month. That breaks down to about 5 a week. And I've found that as a pace that's very manageable. I can stir myself to go out of my way to edify, exhort, or comfort 5 people a week. Busy as I am, I can do that. Sometimes those people are people who live right under my own roof. And since my wife and I live together alone, sometimes she's the one that I need to edify, exhort, or comfort. Sometimes it's someone who sent me an email. But you see, whoever you are and wherever you live, sometimes the person we need to edify, exhort, or comfort is someone we don't have to go looking for. It's someone that we're going to see every day, or we're going to see 2 or 3 times a week. We need to go out of our way to edify, exhort, and comfort people. Now, what do those 3 words mean, and where did I get them? I got them out of 1 Corinthians 14, when it tells why God gives prophecy to the church. What is prophecy for? To edify, to exhort, or to comfort people. Someone defined it this way: edifying is building someone up. Well, look back over your own life. When has somebody said something to you that built you up? Exhorting is stirring somebody up. When have you had somebody kind of stir you up and get excited about doing the things of God? That's exhorting. And comfort, that's to cheer one another up. Have you ever gone through a difficult season and someone came along with words of comfort that helped you get through that difficult time? It didn't necessarily make the hard times go away instantly, but it did help you persevere until the difficult season came to an end and God brought you into a fresh place and you were rejoicing once again. In fact, sometimes that's what cheers us up, is to start praising God and rejoicing before him while we're in the middle of a tough time. Well, anyway, a lot could be said about those 3 words, but here's the point. If you start to serve the people around you with the same motives that the Holy Spirit has when he gives the gift of prophecy to the church, you are setting yourself up to have him begin to speak to you and speak through you. And why is this? because you are aligning your motive with His. What is the Holy Spirit's motive? It is to edify, to exhort, and to comfort. Now, if your motive comes to be the same, then when the Holy Spirit is ready to start giving prophetic words, He's going to say, I know someone I can use, because he or she is going to know what to do with it. He's already in the habit of edifying, exhorting, and comforting. She's already in the habit of looking for people who need to be built up and who need to be stirred up and need to be cheered up, and doing whatever she can to make those things happen. So I'll give her a word for them. Well, see, that's what this adventure is all about. I want to invite you to do this. Get in God's presence to receive from Him. If you do nothing more than just let Him love you 2 or 3 times a week, even that would be enough. And then the other thing, go out of your way to edify, exhort, or comfort at least 5 people every week. You know what I regret? I regret that in my earliest days as a Christian, when I learned how to be a disciple of Jesus, I was told, read the Bible daily, which I do, pray daily, which I do, go to church, which I do. But I wish someone had shared this with me, to spend some time listening in God's presence every week. Don't just pray a prayer where I do the talking, but listen to Him. And then the other thing, go out of my way to edify, exhort, or comfort at least 5 people a week. I wish I had started doing that in the earliest days I was a Christian. But it's not too late now. And I've found that to be a good discipline ever since I gave that assignment to that class. Incidentally, one came back and she had led 2 people to Christ. Another was a young man who had prayed for healing for several strangers that he met in public places, and they had received healing instantly. In my own case, it was times when I had found ministry opportunities that I would have overlooked because I was looking for people to edify, exhort, or comfort, and I was flowing prophetically outside the church as never before. Well, it can happen in many ways, and incidentally, when I would go somewhere and preach, I wasn't content just to preach a word, but I was always looking for a way to edify, exhort, or comfort the people with personal ministry when the preaching was over. And that helped me stay focused and helped me not just settle back into the comfort of just teaching, but it pushed me out of my shell and helped me make a point of personal ministry. Well, now, however it applies to your own life, I want to invite you to enjoy this discipline with me. And we will find that Jesus Himself will lead us and will guide us and will walk us into divine appointments. He'll stretch you just as He's been stretching me. And you'll find it gets easier and easier to hear. It's a lot of fun.